The U.S. is home to more than 5,000 colleges. Actors, athletes, singers, and other entertainers who are already successful before they go to college, they probably have their choice of where they want to go. Yet, so many end up at the University of Southern California. Why is that? On Industry Impact, we'll talk to these people as what makes them successful and their college experiences. On this episode, we're speaking with Chiara D'Ambrosio about her college experience here at USC. Chiara is an Emmy Award-winning actress. We know her from Nikki, Ricky, Dicky, and Dawn, a Nickelodeon TV series. Also, the 2022 crime thriller film Bandit. The Young and Reckless, that's a TV show that has been running up to 50 seasons. Also, we know her with The Bay and its spin-off YA. How are you, Chiara?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you so much for having me today. How are you?
I'm good. I'm really good. Bienvenido. I know that you filmed some scenes of The Bay in Puerto Rico, right?
Yes, I did. It was such a fun time. It was like during the summer, and I spent I think 2 weeks there. I had an amazing time with my sister and the rest of the cast and crew. And we filmed the night after the Emmys. So as soon as I went on a plane to Puerto Rico. So it was just like a whirlwind. It was crazy.
And what a night, right? The Emmys.
Oh yeah, what a night! I'm just so grateful and honored. There's no words. There's no words.
Yeah. So you started acting at 3 years old. What is your first real memory about acting?
Ooh, okay. So The Young and the Restless was the first job that my sister and I ever booked. So we played one character because obviously when you're younger, you need two people to play one person because of the child labor laws and the hours that you can work on set. Yeah. But I remember that we would have to switch on and off for certain days. And there was one day that I remember my sister, which is just so weird. I remember my sister's day. But she had to do a scene with Halloween candy and with cupcakes. And she got to eat them during the scene. And I couldn't because I wasn't filming that day. I was filming the next day. And I was so mad. Yes. I was so mad. They gave me one. So it was all better.
And what was it like being a child actress and just growing up in that industry?
I mean, it's really tough. You have to build thick skin. Yeah. I've handled rejection since I was 3 years old. So anything at this point, it's okay, I'll take it. I'll learn from it and I'll learn how to grow from it as well. So for me, if I didn't have that part of my life growing up, I don't know who I would be now. So I'm okay with it. And I love working. It's the best thing. And now I'm going into writing as well. So I now learn the behind the scenes and I know the front of the scenes work. So I can put them together.
Yeah, you can put them together. Mm-hmm. That's true. And how do your parents handle your sister and you being child actresses?
Well, to handle my sister and I as twins is a lot. Yeah. But while being actresses, they're 100% supportive. Every year they ask me, okay, Chiara, do you still want to do this? If you don't want to, that's completely fine. No pressure. And I'm like, I still do. And as I got older, I dove into writing and behind the scenes. So they're super supportive on that. And me here at USC, my sister's at Berkeley pursuing film and law. So they're very supportive and they want to help us in any way possible. So growing up with that type of influence on me was incredible. Not a lot of people that are actresses when they're younger or actors have that support. And so I'm just grateful.
And how supportive was you having that experience, but not only by yourself, but with your twin sister?
I had my best friend with me. If I ever needed someone to run my lines with me, she'd be there. Or for a self-tape, for instance, if I needed someone to read with me, she'd be there too. Or my parents. They're all hands-on. And I know as twins, one gets a role, one of us doesn't. Or we both audition for the same thing and you don't know what happens. And my parents has always instilled in me that if it's a win for one of us, it's a win for all of us. Because we're Team D'Ambrosio. So that's something that I've always believed in and I will continue to believe in.
But did it get competitive?
No, actually not really. If I believe that if we each got one callback and I didn't or vice versa, I would be you know what? I think you were perfect for that. And I feel you really worked hard on that. Or for me too. So it just depends on what type of role it was. But I never felt that competitiveness. It's only against other people.
But that's good. Just having that experience with your sister and your parents and being so supportive, I think also that has helped you now in your decisions that you're taking now. And what do you think about this decision that you took of going to USC, already being as successful?
Thank you so much. So I actually wrote about this during my college application process, but I have always come up with stories and ideas. I just never really had the courage to write them down. And at some point I realized, auditions come and go and you work so hard for one and then your heart gets broken because you don't get that call back or that job audition or the producer session even. And I thought, why don't I take matters in my own hands and control my own destiny? So I dove into the writing process because I wanted to make sure I knew the process to make the script to the screen. And I remember watching Stranger Things for the first time, and that was my little light bulb moment. And that was like, oh, I'm going to be a writer. This is the stuff I want to write. And plus, Stranger Things was really the door for kid television when it was a drama. Not a lot of people watched kids TV. And so now you have teenagers at the front of it was so inspiring. And so I was like, I'm going to do this. And so I worked for, Stranger Things came out several years ago, so maybe 4 or 5 years. And then once it come to application time, I was like, okay, I'm going to pour my heart and soul into this application. We'll see what happens. And when I opened up my USC letter, I was like, oh my gosh. I was like, what is going on? I was like, what? I did not think that this was going to happen. But it's a pleasure. I'm so blessed.
And acting is such a competitive field. And you coming to USC is such a competitive college to get in. Did that drove you to select this?
It was, it was a really hard decision, but at the end of the day, I wanted to do writing. I wanted to become a writer, and I feel like USC was the best place for screenwriting for me. And I'm so happy that they took me. I was like, what is going on? I'm so happy, and the friends that I've made here and the connections is just so important to me, and I love it.
Writing is craft work, and also acting is craft work. How do you handle that work-studying balance?
Well, acting to break down a script is so different than writing to break down a script. Because writing to break down a script, there's always an agenda for one of the characters or both of them. And that entire scene, you have to get to that agenda by the end of it, because then it'll make sense and it's really important to the story. But for acting, you have to go into every line. What are you thinking about? What do you do when the other person is reacting to what you're saying? You got to keep things conversational and real. And so it's completely two different things. And I have to get my writing brain out of my acting brain and vice versa. So it's a tough challenge, but I'm okay with it.
What does USC offer to someone like you?
Well, it's in LA, and that's the basis for Hollywood, and the connections, the alumni system at USC is incredible, and their film school is insane. The amount of posters you see on the wall of all their alumni successes, and I'm like, I want to have my poster. After my first class, on my day one, I told my mom, I'm gonna have my poster on that wall, on the writing floor. I just know it. You're gonna see it there.
You're competitive. But with other people.
I'm a Taurus, so it made sense. So I'm going to really work hard, and the reason why USC really worked for me is I love it here. I love the environment. I love the people that I met. I know I mentioned that before, but I made some great friendships here and bonds that I know I'm going to take with me for the rest of my life. And so I feel like I needed to be here to realize that. And plus, I've been homeschooled all my life. Yeah. So I needed to go to regular school. I needed to feel the college experience that I've always watched on TV and movies, and I feel like I'm living that here. It was a hard challenge, though, to pick, but I'm glad I picked USC.
And how was that? You're separating from your sister. She going to UC Berkeley and you coming here.
It's a challenge. We're still figuring that every day. But I feel like every day is a new process and a new journey. And I feel like we're making the right step into a new direction. And I see her every weekend. She literally just left from 2 weeks because she had press for her movie that came out this week. It had their premiere. So we sort of balance when she comes up and when I go up to Berkeley. I was there 2 weeks ago, and then she came down here last week. So it's all about a balancing act. And, I'm grateful that my sister didn't come see me every weekend or I go see her. And for my parents, it's so difficult. There's one parent goes up there and then they switch. Yeah. And, it's hard because we're so close to this day. But we've always been the 4 of us, and now it's 2 and 2. Mm-hmm. It sucks. But, it is what it is, and you just have to keep going. And I really value those weekends and those moments I have with my family.
It's because you also create content with her.
Yes.
So how do you handle the schedule?
We do it all in one day. We have a day to relax and just watch movies as a family. But there is a day where we just do content, and it is tiring. After you haven't done it for 2 weeks or even a week, you forget how you're in that groove, and you're like, wow. But you have to do it. So It is what it is.
So what is your dream job, if you have to say, after everything is finished? What is your dream life? Maybe not a job, but your dream life, what you want to be doing.
So I want to write. I mean, that's a given. I want to write stories that mean something to someone, and I want to change, the narrative. And I feel like I want to create more stories for females in Hollywood, because the female roles, it's not common, and I want to make it strong protagonists, and that's something that I really strive to do. And I want to be in them too. I want to produce. That's something that I'm really looking into. And I want to keep going on this journey and see where it takes me. I have no idea, but that's like my plan. And maybe do entertainment law. I don't know. I don't know. I'm just going for the ride right now, honestly. I don't know.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So, quick ones. What is your favorite role you've ever played?
It's so hard to say because every role is so different. And like, I'm going to say this as a basis. I'm grateful for every role. Like they chose me, they gave me an opportunity, or my sister and I an opportunity. Is absolutely insane. So I'm grateful for that. But, that is such a tough question. I feel like, no, I'm not going to answer that question. I will answer that the role that changed me as a person was playing Regan Sanders on The Bay in YA. I feel like I became Regan at some point during filming, because we filmed for 4 months, and then I've obviously been filming The Bay back and forth. Yeah. So I've sort of become Regan, and she's become me in many different ways. And so that's the role that like changed my life, obviously for other different reasons too. So I feel like I would say Regan, but I love all the opportunities that I've been given.
That's great. Do you have any advice you will want to share for someone else interested in getting in the acting industry and coming to USC? Also,
work hard, because working hard, your dreams will come true. Just trust me. You got to keep going. I know there's days I'm like, man, like I just want to say this and I can't do this, and they're not giving me that chance. They will. You just got to keep working. You got to keep doing anything you can to learn about the craft. Watch YouTube videos. Watch old actors' audition tapes. Do anything you can, just anything that you can learn while you're in that time period where you're just like, what do I do? Like, should I still be in this? Yes, you should. Don't give up. Your dreams will come true if you work hard for them. Trust me, it will. And I'm still learning through it too. Yeah. And you have to have thick skin. So you have to take the rejection and turn it into a positive one. Trust.
And this is called industry impact. So what is the impact that you finally want to have? You want to tell stories about women. What other things do you want to impact in this industry?
Well, for me, I'm a big animal lover. At one time, my family rescued, I want to say 6 dogs. And so I always loved dogs, and they're my favorite. I have a Saint Bernard right now. His name is Matt. He's like the love of my life. He actually is here today. So I had to bring him with me. So at one time I was talking with my sister, and I want to open up like an animal sanctuary, and a shelter for dogs. I mean, there's so many dogs that are on the streets or in kill shelters, and I want to take them out of that and put them in a safe area where they're waiting for their next home, or foster as many dogs as I can. So if I can impact one person to adopt and don't shop with what my title or my success is in this industry, then that's something that will mean the world to me.
That's great. So thank you, Kara.
Thank you.
That was great.
Thank you.
And that's a wrap, guys. So now the truth is out. USC may be the best school for successful people, right?
I mean, fight on.
Hey, I'm Emma, and I'm the director of Industry Impact.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I'm the producer on Industry Impact.
Right, so we've heard from Chiara D'Ambroso on all the amazing things that USC has to offer for actors and other people who are in the industry. However, it wouldn't be quite fair of us to not discuss the possible downsides of it.
Right, yeah. So, obviously there's a bunch of wonderful things that the School of Dramatic Arts has to offer for actors, but I can see how if you are already successful, right, maybe you just want to focus on acting and you feel like you don't need the school part. So then a heavy workload like a student could have at USC might kind of take away from the time they could put into acting. So I don't know. It really just depends on the person, but I can see how that could be a reason why for some people it might not be the best fit.
Yeah, for sure. If you're just looking to get a degree in what you're studying and what you're looking to be as a professional, I don't think USC would be the community for it, because we have so many other things that we have to do as students, and we have that school spirit element, which takes up a lot of time. Go Trojans. But we also just have like GE requirements, which are general education courses, and a lot of students are on sports teams and participate in other extracurricular activities, which can definitely take away if you're also balancing like a full-time job. Meanwhile, other schools who don't really have that rest of the community can provide better management of just the degree.
Right. Yeah. It's a lot of time to be a full-time student. So it can, I can see why that might not be the best fit for some people. And then on the other hand, if you don't need a degree at all, you might just not go to school in general, right? Like if you're already a successful actor, you can find work. You may not feel like you need to go back and get a degree in acting. So it might not make sense for some people. And then for Kiara, she was talking about how she is really trying to learn how to write as well and practice that craft, which is something that makes a lot of sense that maybe you go to school to learn how to do that better. But if you're in a situation where you're not really trying to learn a new discipline, you're just kind of going to keep going with what you're doing, it may not make sense for you to come to USC and have to put in all the time as a student and everything.
Yeah, definitely if you don't need the degree, then a school like USC with the finances that are required to attend is definitely not worth it. But yeah, if you're doing something else in a different discipline, sure, acting, that network, that already having that platform will definitely help for screenwriting, for example, like Kiara. But yeah, the finances are not worth it if you're not putting in effort into the entire community.
Right. It's a lot of money that you're investing if you're just going to come in here to kind of try and keep going with your career as it is. So
yeah,
that does make a lot of sense. And, and a lot of the times the best way to learn is just by experience anyways. So if that's your situation, then there's no need to, like you said, put in all the money, invest all the time into the GEs and all the other classes in the community and everything. So.
And I can imagine if you're a full-time student here that you'd have to say no to some possibilities in the field, which would take away those learning experiences as well for your education. So it would kind of cancel out each other and it would make things a lot more difficult.
Yeah, you can end up just going backward in that sense if you're avoiding opportunities in the field. So yeah.
And that's a wrap, guys. Now the truth is out. Oh, what's that? USC is the best school for actors. You heard it here first. Life in the spotlight can be hard, but not when you're doing it at USC. Thanks for watching, and be sure to turn in next time for Industry Impact.